Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a 4K and Blu-ray collection video. If you're into this sort of thing, please feel free to comment, like, or subscribe to my channel. So without further ado, we've got 310 to Yuma in 4K, excellent Western. Ben Affleck in The Accountant in 4K, underrated film in my opinion. Ad Astra in 4K. I know a lot of people did not like this movie. I found it to be an excellent film. I guess some people were, duped into believing it was going to be a sci-fi, action-packed, Star Wars-ish type movie, but it is definitely more of a 2001 Space Odyssey film, so if you're into old-school sci-fi films, this is an excellent movie. Don't listen to the bad reviews. I know it got good critic reviews, but the audience scores are very low. I don't understand why. We have the original 90s Aladdin in 4K, Alien in 4K, one of my absolute favorite sci-fi films, American Gangster in 4K, another Ridley Scott film. And then we've got, I think it's pronounced Anna, I can't remember, I watched the movie last year. Surprisingly good action movie. Sorry. Next we have Annihilation in 4K, directed by Alex Garland, who's one of my favorite up-and-coming directors. And then Argo in 4K, one of my absolute favorite films of all time, one of my few 4-star films of the past 10 years. Definitely deserved Best Picture. Ben Affleck is a very good director. Got the original Avengers in 4K, followed by Infinity War and Endgame. I don't have Age of Ultron in 4K, I just have it on regular Blu-ray because it's probably my least favorite Marvel movie outside of Thor: The Dark World. Baby Driver in 4K. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. My absolute favorite films, probably. Christopher Nolan is my favorite director. Big Hero 6 in 4K. Black Panther in 4K. This and Guardians of the Galaxy, which I also have in 4K, are my two favorite Marvel films, probably. Blade Runner: The Final Cut. Obviously a classic. I would say it's in my top 5 sci-fi movies of all time. Blade Runner 2049, the sequel to Blade Runner, very good sequel, not quite as good as the original, but it would be hard to follow up any classic like that, so still very much worth watching. Cold Pursuit, surprisingly funny, heartfelt movie. The original Die Hard, best Christmas movie ever made, don't at me. Dunkirk in 4K. E.T. in 4K, another classic. Ex Machina, another top 5 sci-fi movie for me. Alex Garland is just one of my favorite directors working today. And then we have Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. I normally would not have bought this because I saw it in theaters and thought it was very mediocre, but I couldn't pass up the Black Friday deal last year. I think it was like $6. Next up over here, we've got Ford versus Ferrari in 4K. Fury in 4K. This is actually a movie that I have not watched yet. I just added it to my collection recently, so it's on my to-watch list. This is turned around. First season of Game of Thrones in 4K. Sorry, I need to move this down a little bit. My shelves are a little bit high because they're on the walls, so bear with me. Okay. Get Out in 4K, excellent movie. Gladiator in 4K, classic. Godzilla, King of the Monsters in 4K. Normally would not have bought that one either because it was okay, but again, the Black Friday deal was too good, and I owned the first movie already, so I wanted to keep the series going. Green Book in 4K, I love that movie. Guardians of the Galaxy in 4K, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Have the original Halloween in 4K, my all-time favorite horror film, what I consider to be the best horror film of all time, followed by the Halloween 2018 follow-up, which erased the rest of the Halloween movies from the canon, which was a great decision. The rest of them are all very mediocre at best. They're fun to watch in a cheesy sort of way, but they're not great films. Next we have The Hate You Give in 4K. I actually just read the book of this last weekend for a library class that I'm taking, and I think the book's not as good as the movie just because they changed the ending, and I thought the ending to the movie was better. Hell or High Water, excellent heist film. Hostiles, I have actually not seen this one yet either. It's another recent pickup that I need to watch. How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, The Incredibles, and The Incredibles 2. I actually like the second one more than the first one. I know some people don't, but I do. Interstellar in 4K. Christopher Nolan, another excellent Nolan film. Inception in 4K, instant classic in my opinion. Got the first chapter of It in 4K, followed by It Chapter 2. I found the first chapter much better than the second, but the second one was worth watching. Just a little too long and repeating a lot of the same beats as the first movie. John Wick, this is the best of the three in my opinion. I think they progressively have gotten worse just because it's the same thing over and over, but I like all three of them. They're excellent action films and highly recommended if you're a Keanu Reeves fan. Got Jojo Rabbit. I was surprised by that movie. I didn't think I would like it very much, but I did. It actually has a very heartfelt story, followed by Joker. This was my second favorite movie of last year. Joaquin Phoenix was just phenomenal, and I thought the story of this the mental health awareness and everything in that movie is just great, and it needs to be watched by anybody that suffers through mental health issues. Move my step stool down a little bit. These poles here make it a little hard to get the first movie out. I don't know why they designed them like that, so can't pull this one out, but it's Kingsman: The Secret Service, followed by Kingsman: The Golden Circle, Knives Out, another great movie from last year. And we have Logan, best X-Men movie and one of the best superhero movies ever made, in my opinion. Logan Lucky. Daniel Craig is phenomenal in this movie, and I'm a big fan of Steven Soderbergh. Love, Simon. I have not read this book, but I thought this movie was one of the better teen drama romance movies, I don't know what I should call them, that I've seen in a while. Mad Max Fury Road. This was one of the best movies of the decade for sure. Then we have the Matrix trilogy. So I'm sure you guys are wondering which one's my favorite. The first one is by far the best. It's a sci-fi classic. Reloaded is a decent sequel, but Revolutions was okay. So am I looking forward to the fourth one? Yes, but with some trepidation, I guess. Got all of the Mission Impossibles in 4K, so the Mission Impossible series has gotten progressively better the further along it's gotten. The first movie's fine, the second movie's fine, third movie was when they started improving to the point where I started paying attention, and then 4, 5, and 6 were definitely the highlight of the series for me. Then we have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, my favorite movie from last year, what I consider to be the best film from last year, basically. Overlord, I really enjoyed this movie. It's a blast. Pan's Labyrinth, one of my all-time favorite films. I don't have the Criterion Collection, which a lot of people consider to be the definitive transfer to disc, but it's whatever. Passengers, this is a surprisingly underrated film in my opinion. It has its flaws, but Philadelphia, this was one I just got last week in 4K through Hamilton Books. I think it was like $8, so it's on my to-watch list. The Prestige, another great Christopher Nolan film. As you can see, I have slipcovers on almost all of these, but the last few I don't. Philadelphia, it's on the way. I just purchased the slipcover. But The Prestige, if you guys know anybody with this slipcover, let me know. It is probably the rarest 4K slipcover I've seen. It goes anywhere from $30 to $70 on eBay and secondhand places. Prometheus, which is the prequel to Alien. I really liked this film. Alien Covenant, which I have later on down on steelbook, was not as good as Prometheus in my opinion. Quiet Place. I was bummed when the second one got pushed back, but it's for the coronavirus, and it's a decision I absolutely agree with, so just have to wait. Ratatouille in 4K. You'll see later on down the line I have almost all the Pixar films in steelbook. The only ones I don't are Ratatouille and Incredibles 1 and 2. Got Ready Player One. I actually thought this was a really fun movie. I saw it in theaters. A lot of people said they were hit or miss with it. And then Schindler's List in 4K. Let me step back down and move my thing here. Alright. Next we have Shape of Water. Excellent film. I know it's another one of those like Ad Astra where people didn't understand what they were getting into, but it's phenomenal. The Shining in 4K. Sicario. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I'm taking too long. Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Far From Home. Into the Spider-Verse. This was the best of those three, in my opinion. Solo, a Star Wars story. I really liked this film. I know some people did not. And I also have the dreaded Terminator 2 4K. I bought this in the format's infancy, not realizing that a lot of people hated the transfer. I haven't even watched the transfer yet, but it's fine. It comes with the Blu-ray, so I guess that's the version that people prefer. I would assume that that's the Blu-ray that people like. Thor Ragnarok in 4K, Toy Story 4, The Town, another excellently directed Ben Affleck movie, the first Transformers film, which is the only one that I like, and that includes Bumblebee. I thought Bumblebee was okay, but not worth adding to the collection. Unsane, another great Soderbergh movie. Us, Jordan Peele's follow-up to Get Out. Not as good as Get Out, but I enjoyed it enough. War for the Planet of the Apes. I have the other two on Blu-ray. This was the best of the three by far. Widows. The Wizard of Oz. Those of you that know me know this is one of my top 5 favorite films of all time, so I had to get it on 4K as soon as it came out. Wonder Woman. Currently the best DC Extended Universe film. And then Dark Phoenix. This was another one where it was like $6 on Black Friday last year, $6-7, so I grabbed it because I thought it was okay. And I own every single X-Men movie besides this, so I wanted it for the collection. Zero Dark 30 on 4K. I love this film. It's another one I just bought in 4K last week. I need to get the slipcover for it at some point. And then we have the Harry Potter 8 film collection, followed by... here, Apocalypse Now, the final cut in 4K. Haven't watched that yet. I've actually never seen that film. I got that on Black Friday last year. It's another one on my to-watch list. Let me scoot this down some more. Okay, that's it for the regular 4Ks. Now we're into the steelbooks. Scoot this down a little bit. Most of these are Pixar related. So we've got Brave 4K steelbook. Oops. Sorry. Slip down my hand. Okay. Cars 4K steelbook. I don't like Cars 2. This is the worst Pixar movie by far, and I haven't seen 3 yet, so that's why I don't have it over here. Finding Nemo. Finding Dory. A Good Dinosaur. I know some people don't like this movie. I like the story, and the animation is phenomenal. It's lower end Pixar, but still worth watching. Inside Out. Toy Story. Probably that and Toy Story 2 are my favorite Pixar films. Toy Story 3 is really good, too. I didn't go on my soapbox about 4, but I consider Toy Story a trilogy still. Toy Story 4 was not as good as I thought it would be. I bought it just to continue the series, like so many others I have. Plus, I know a couple people that like it, so... Zootopia. So, they haven't released any of the Star Wars films in 4K except for Solo and The Last Jedi so far. With, what's it called? Rise of the Skywalker is coming out in a couple of weeks, and I have the Steelbook pre-ordered, so... But this Steelbook looks awesome. I guess I could show you guys the back of some of these, too. Like the back of Toy Story's got that. Toy Story 2's got Andy's feet. Toy Story 3's got Lotso. So, then we have Alien Covenant. I enjoyed this movie, but it was not as good as Prometheus, in my opinion. Then we have a 90s cult classic sci-fi film, Fifth Element, 4K Steelbook. Game of Thrones Season 8 Steelbook. So I have Season 1 and Season 8 on 4K, which I think are the only ones that have been released in 4K. The rest of them are right here on Blu-ray. Jason Bourne in 4K. This is the only Bourne movie I own in 4K. I did like this movie. A lot of people said they did not. I enjoyed it. And then one of my major annoyances, as you can tell, these two do not have titles on the spines. It's because they came as a 2-part collection. This is the Spider-Man trilogy in 4K, followed by the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 in 4K. Wish they would have put those on there, but whatever. me scoot down a little bit here. Okay, these are now starting my Blu-ray collection. These are the Blu-ray steelbooks that I have. I've got Fast and the Furious 6. This is the only one I own in steelbook because I found it at Goodwill for $3, so I bought it. Ghost in the Shell, the Mondo steelbook, which is really cool. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I am in the minority, but this is my favorite Halloween sequel that's not the new 2018 one, even though it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. I like the standalone aspect of the story, and I just find it fun to watch. We've got the special edition of Hot Fuzz, the original Stephen King's It, Man of Steel, probably the second best DC Extended Universe film. Probably that and Wonder Woman are the only ones that I would personally consider worth re-watching. I thought Aquaman was okay and Shazam was okay, but I wouldn't watch them again. Psycho, one of my all-time favorite films. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, followed by Shaun of the Dead. As you can see, I have most of Edgar Wright's films on steelbook. Total Recall. Some of these have stuff on the back. I keep forgetting to show you guys. I don't think these ones do. Yeah, those are just standard backs. Although that one's pretty cool. Anyway, and then we have Zodiac. Love this film. David Fincher is another one of my all-time favorite directors. Okay, so that is all the 4K and steelbooks. Now we're going to be going on to the regular Blu-ray, so I'm not going to go through all of those. This is every single Bond film on Blu-ray. The last 4 here just came out in 4K, and I plan on upgrading them because Casino Royale and Skyfall are 2 of my absolute favorites, and they were released on steelbook, so gotta get them. I mean, 4K steelbooks are kind of one of my weaknesses. I just started building up that collection recently. So yeah, these are all the 50th anniversary box arts of all of them up to Die Another Day. So that's every Bond film. I don't like every single one of them, but I needed to have them for the collection. I like a majority of them. If you want to know my absolute favorites, they are From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, basically any Sean Connery except for You Only Live Twice and Diamonds Are Forever. And then I also really like GoldenEye, and then Casino Royale and Skyfall. And there was one other, License to Kill. I think this one's underrated as well, Timothy Dalton. And then, yep, I think my favorite of the Roger Moore is probably For Your Eyes Only. So, anyway, now we're on to the regular Blu-rays. We've got 10 Cloverfield Lane, The 10th Kingdom TV miniseries. My wife loves this. 10 Things I Hate About You. 21 Jump Street. I have not seen 22 Jump Street yet, so you'll have to bear with me on that one. 28 Days Later, Danny Boyle, phenomenal. 28 Weeks Later, not as good, but still a worthy follow-up. We got 300, 500 Days of Summer, or as some people like to call it, 500 Days of Bummer. Love that film. 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I need to get in 4K. Adventureland. I actually really like this movie. Adventures of Tintin. Aliens. I don't know why James Cameron has not released like any of his movies in Blu-ray or 4K. That's like one of the only ones. Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection. So Alien soapbox time a little bit. Alien 3 director's cut is better than the original, but that's not what I have. But anyway, Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection are okay. Alien and Aliens followed by Prometheus and Alien Covenant are the ones that I really like, but I wanted them for my collection. And then we have Alter Bridge, live at Wembley, my favorite band. I've got them down here as well. This is my oversized cases down here, but Alter Bridge, live at the Royal Albert Hall as well. Alpha Dog, underrated. American Beauty, one of my all-time favorite films. And then we have American Horror Story Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, and Season 5. I have not seen Season 6. I saw Season 7, and then after that I kind of lost interest. I guess I'm somewhat interested in continuing, but they stopped releasing them on Blu-ray after season 6, and that's when I lost interest. American Hustle, American Psycho. I love this film. Christian Bale's best performance, in my opinion. American Sniper, Ant-Man. I got this for free from Disney Movie Rewards before they changed the way that they're doing their movie rewards. Not my favorite Marvel film. Arthur Christmas, the best Christmas movie of the past 10 years. Don't at me. Atonement, one of my all-time favorite films. Top 5 for sure. One of the few films that's actually got me emotional to the point where a tear was there, two were shed. And we have Age of Ultron, but over here. And again, these polls kind of get in the way. It's The Bank Job with Jason Statham, followed by the 80s Batman and Batman Returns. I'm not a massive fan of them, but I can watch them. I much prefer the Dark Knight trilogy. And then we've got the original Batman the movie with Adam West, hilarious. Got the Batman the complete animated series, classic. Batman the Dark Knight Returns Deluxe Edition, which has part 1 and part 2, very good. Batman Mask of Phantasm, another really good one. Under the Red Hood, probably my favorite of the animated standalone films. Got a Beautiful Mind, I love that film. Big with Tom Hanks, another great movie. The Big Sick, Birdman, Black Mass, probably Johnny Depp's best performance in the past 10 years, I'd say. Black Swan, The Blind Side. I'm a big football fan. The Bling Ring. I actually really enjoy this film. Some people didn't like it. Bone Tomahawk, another excellent Western. Got the 4 Bourne films. I considered upgrading the first 3 to 4K, but I don't think it's actually worth it. Bridesmaids, great comedy. Bridge to Terabithia. I actually love this movie. It makes me tear up at the end as well. I don't understand people that don't like that movie. Brothers, Buried. This was what really caught my attention to the fact that Ryan Reynolds could act, because he is great in that movie. This right here, most underrated Coen Brothers film, hilarious. I can't stop laughing every time I watch that movie. And then finally, if I can get this out of here, got Cabin in the Woods. Let's see, Captain America the Winter Soldier, and Captain America Civil War. Meh. Captain America's not my favorite. Captain Phillips, love this movie. Castlevania Season 1 and Castlevania Season 2. I just watched Season 3 on Netflix. Really enjoyed it. I will be buying that on Blu-ray as well. Catch Me If You Can. Probably another one of my top 5, top 10 movies. So entertaining and love the performances. I can watch it over and over. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I enjoy this more than the original. I think the story changes and the ending are just stronger. Children of Men, underrated. Chronicle, Closer. A lot of people haven't seen this movie, but this is an excellent film. Cloverfield, I do like those films. Collateral, one of Tom Cruise's best performances. Constantine, underrated. Keanu Reeves, Contagion, highly relevant film right now. The Crow, R.I.P. Brandon Lee, great movie. Curious Case of Benjamin Button, David Fincher, phenomenal film. Dallas Buyers Club, phenomenal film. Departed, Scorsese. The Descent, of one of my favorite horror films. And then you've got Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2, they're decent. District 9, Django, Tarantino, very good movie. Don John, Donnie Darko, it's a crazy movie. Don't Breathe, another crazy movie that I really enjoyed. Doubt, one of my absolute favorite movies. And then Dread, which is so much better than the Sylvester Stallone one. And then we've got all 9 seasons of Dragon Ball Z. The Duchess with Keira Knightley. I'm a sucker for period pieces with Keira Knightley, and she's one of my favorite actresses. Dumb and Dumber, probably my all-time favorite comedy. I grew up on that one. Easy A, The Edge of 17, I love that film. Edward Scissorhands, Elf, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, which is Evil Dead 3. I enjoy all those movies. Faculty, good B-movie, sci-fi, horror. The first Fantastic Beasts, which is so much better than the second one. Fargo, Fault in Our Stars. Love Denzel Washington. Fences is phenomenal if you've never seen that. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, classic. Fight Club, and Fighter. Man, this is taking longer than I thought it would. I apologize, people. Final Fantasy, Advent Children, complete. I'm going to stop pulling them out and just go through them. Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within, Kingsglaive. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, so... And now this film here, if you haven't seen this, it's from last year. One of the best films. Actually, it might have been 2018, but Ethan Hawke is really good in that movie. Flight, Fracture, Frailty, Friday the 13th, the entire collection. I only really like a couple of them, but it was on sale for like $15 at Halloween last year, so I grabbed it. Fright Night, I actually like the remake more than the original. Fruitvale Station, Season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of Game of Thrones. These are the Alan Ball alternate art ones. These white ones are. I really like the art on those. Gangs in New York, Garden State, Gattaca, underrated sci-fi film that a lot of people haven't seen. Please watch it. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. These are the foreign films. This is the whole trilogy. I really enjoyed those. Godzilla. This is the 2014 one. Gone in 60 Seconds. Surprisingly, I find this movie enjoyable. A lot of people don't like it. Good Will Hunting, Gravity, Green Mile, and Gran Torino. We'll go down here. Got Grindhouse, Hail Caesar, Coen Brothers. Now, I know I said I didn't like a lot of the Halloween sequels, but they're like $3-4 on Blu-ray, and I like having them for my collection. So, I've got the Halloween 2, Halloween 3's in Steelbook, Halloween 4, Halloween 5. Now, this is the unrated producer's cut of The Curse of Michael Myers. So much better than the original cut. Like, almost a worthy sequel to the rest of them if the story wasn't so ridiculous. And then Halloween H2O, 20 years later. It was the best sequel up until the new one. And this is out of print, so this is on Blu-ray anyway, so this is like $30 used on eBay, so if you're looking for that one, it won't be easy. The Hangover, I only have the first one because it's the only one that I really enjoyed. Happy Death Day, I really liked that film and the sequel as well. These are just fun horror films. Happy Feet, Hard Candy. A lot of people don't know about this film. This is a disturbing film, but if you can stomach it, it is a very good movie. The Hateful Eight, got Heat with Pacino and De Niro, as well as the Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. I've got the first two Hellboy movies. I didn't watch the remake / redo because it didn't interest me very much and it got poor reviews. So, Help, History of Violence, Hitchcock, Home Alone 1 and 2, Horrible Bosses. I'm just going to start highlighting ones that I want people to see. The House of the Devil, one of the best horror movies of the past 10 years in my opinion. How to Train Your Dragon 1 and 2. Hugo, yes, I do have the first Human Centipede. It's a entertaining movie for sure. The Hurt Locker, and what do we got back there? I Kill Giants. The Illusionist, In Bruges. One of the best dark comedies I've seen in a while. Please watch this film. In Time, not great, but I got it for like $1 at Goodwill a couple of weeks ago, so I grabbed it. Not a terrible film. Incredible Hulk, Inglourious Basterds is one of my top 10 films. Inside Man, Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. It Follows, Juno, Jurassic Park, and Jurassic World. Those were the only two that I really enjoyed. I didn't even really like the Jurassic World sequel that much. Kill Bill 1 and 2. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Robert Downey Jr., one of his best movies for sure. LA Confidential, The Land Before Time. Starting to get a glare. Layer Cake. Daniel Craig before he was Bond. Excellent British crime thriller. The Lego Movie. I haven't seen the second one yet. Let Me In, which is the remake to the foreign version, which is Let the Right One In. And surprisingly, they're both good. I would say the foreign film is probably a little bit better, but they're both worth watching. Life of Pi, Limitless, Lincoln, Live, Die, Repeat. I really love that movie. And then Live Free or Die Hard. The Lookout, The Lookout, Love Actually, Lucky Number 11, Mad Max 2, Mad Max 3, Man on Fire, Mean Girls, The Mechanic, Memento. Another one of my top 10 films, Christopher Nolan. I just love the way that he crafted the story for this, how it's all in reverse order. The whole movie is in reverse order. If you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend it. Men in Black Trilogy. Oh my god, Men in Black International was one of the worst movies I saw last year. Will not be adding that to the collection. Michael Clayton, Midnight Special, Midsummer, Minority Report. I love The Mist. I've never read the short story by Stephen King, or I think it's a short story, but I really enjoyed this movie. Moon, Mortal Kombat, Nightmare on Elm Street, the entire series. There are a couple of these that are actually really good, and the first one and the third one are really good. No Country for Old Men, Nocturnal Animals, Oblivion, Oceans 11, 12, and 13, Office Space, Out of Sight, Paranormal Activity, Parasite, which just won Best Picture, great movie, and then The Perks of Being a Wallflower, another one of my personal favorites. Got the first 4 Pirates of the Caribbean. I actually did not care for the 5th one, and the 4th one, this one here, is marginal, but it was like $2 brand new at Goodwill, so I grabbed it. I do enjoy the original trilogy, though. And then we've got the first 3 Pokemon movies. I saw that they just remade the first movie on Netflix, so I gotta catch that at some point. Pride and Prejudice. This is the Keira Knightley one. Like I said, I'm a sucker for her period pieces. Princess Bride, Prisoners, Pulp Fiction, Rachel Getting Married, another one a lot of people haven't seen. Anne Hathaway was phenomenal in this film. I think she was nominated for an Oscar. Very emotional drama. It gets me every time. Ready or Not, highly underrated movie from last year. Red Sparrow, this was an okay spy thriller, but it was only like $2 at a used store, so I grabbed it. Requiem for a Dream, Reservoir Dogs, Resident Evil Degeneration, Resident Evil Vendetta, Revenge. Foreign film, but if you like foreign films, excellent movie. The Riddick Trilogy, Rio 1 and 2, there's Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. The original RoboCop and the remake. I enjoyed the remake, but it's not as good as the original. I have Rounders, A Royal Affair, the complete Saw collection. With Saw, I love the original film. Saw 2 and 3 are okay. Saw 4, 5 are awful. Saw 6 was decent, and Saw final chapter, meh. And then the new one, Jigsaw, did not like it at all. And then I saw they're making another one with Chris Rock. We'll see. Serenity and 7. Shawshank Redemption, another top 10 film for me. Shrek 1 and 2. I don't like any of the other sequels, just these 2. Shutter Island, Side Effects, Silence of the Lambs, Silver Linings Playbook, Sin City, Slumdog Millionaire. Love this film too. Snowpiercer. Social Network is probably another top 10. I don't know how many I've said are top 10. Maybe top 20, I don't know. Source Code. This is a HD benchmark just to calibrate your TV. Speed, Splice, Spotlight, the 3 newest Star Trek films. The first one's my favorite. I liked Beyond, but it was not as good as these 2 because missing Abrams really hurt in my opinion. Stardust, Street Kings, this is a Keanu Reeves underrated police drama. Sully, Sunshine, Danny Boyle, sci-fi movie. If you like sci-fi, this is a great movie. Super 8, Superbad, Sweeney Todd, Taken. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original trilogy, and the animated TMNT. Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation. I did not care for Genesis or Dark Fate, unfortunately. The Theory of Everything, There Will Be Blood, Thing, Thor the Dark World, the worst Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, but I had to add it to my collection just because. Titanic, Training Day, Trick or Treat, Tropic Thunder, Troy, True Grit. These Twilight films, I mostly just have them because my wife likes watching them. So the first one and Eclipse are somewhat entertaining. The other ones are just blah. Under the Skin. If you haven't seen this, Scarlett Johansson, a great sci-fi drama. The Underworld complete collection. Guilty pleasure for me. I do enjoy these films. Up in the Air, Upgrade. This was a great sci-fi movie from last year, maybe 2018. V for Vendetta, love that film too. Wall Street double feature. The original's really good. The sequel's okay. Wanted, War of the Worlds, Warrior, highly underrated sports movie. This movie is another one that gets me a little teary-eyed at the end. And then Watchmen, the director's cut. Almost at the end, guys. Sorry this is so long. Water for Elephants, When Harry Met Sally, Whiplash. This is another top 10, top 20 film for me. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I grew up on this movie. It's a classic. Winter's Bone. I actually watched this when it came out. Jennifer Lawrence was a complete unknown. It's kind of crazy looking back on this film and how big she's gotten because no one knew who she was when this came out. World War Z, The Wrestler, X-Men 2, 3, First Class, Wolverine, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse. My favorite is X2, and I would put this in the top 10, top 20 superhero films of all time, followed by Days of Future Past. You're Next and Zombieland. I did see Zombieland 2. I need to get that. Double tap, I think. And then here we've got all of my Disney Blu-rays, which I can't get the first one out. It's the Alice in Wonderland live action. It was okay. Beauty and the Beast. Some of these have come out in 4K since I bought them, but I'm not really looking to upgrade them. And some of them are duplicates from my steelbooks up there. I like keeping them because they're collector's items. So Brave, Bug's Life. I need to get the steelbook for this one. Christmas Carol, Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I really enjoy at least the first one, and I have all three. I enjoyed them all, but the first one I really enjoy. It's Caspian, Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, Fox and the Hound 1 and 2. The first one was a classic for me when I was growing up. The first Frozen, I didn't care for Frozen 2, sorry people. Hercules, Hocus Pocus, Inside Out, The Little Mermaid, Monsters, Inc., another one I need to get in 4K, as well as Monsters University, Nightmare Before Christmas, Oz, the Great and Powerful. Now, I told you The Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite films. I actually really enjoyed this, too. Thought it was a cool prequel. Princess and the Frog, the first Santa Claus, the only one that's even remotely decent. I don't even care for it that much. It's one of my wife's favorite films, though. Tarzan. Now, these I really enjoy. Tron, the original classic, and Tron Legacy. If they ever release those in 4K, I'll upgrade them. I really like the Tron movies. Up, Wall-E, and then you've got the Star Wars Complete Saga on Blu-ray. It's 1 through 6. They are releasing them on 4K soon, and I do plan on upgrading, because those are some of my favorite films. Rogue One and Force Awakens. I'll probably upgrade both of these to 4K as well. These are my oversized Avatar, Chronicles of Narnia, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I love this film. These are, David Fincher's just awesome. And then got Gone Girl, another great David Fincher film. Indiana Jones, The Complete Adventures on Blu-ray. Let's get these over. Lord of the Rings Motion Picture Trilogy on Blu-ray. Rush Hour Trilogy on Blu-ray. And then one of the few TV shows I actually owned. I have all 4 seasons of Spartacus on Blu-ray. I did enjoy that show. So that's it for my collection. Now, I do have some stuff over here later on that I can show you guys. This is all stuff that I've picked up at thrift stores or Goodwills in the past month and a half that I've never seen, so I don't know whether I'm going to add them to my collection or not. But, yeah. And then just a brief here, video game collection. This is all PS4 up here, PS3. I'll go over this more in detail later. 3DS, older stuff there, Super Nintendo, DS, Game Boy Advance, and PlayStation. So, yep, that's it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Again, if you like this kind of content, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.